Stefaans Coetzee grew up in a violent home without knowing what love was. He quit school early and became a terrorist who partook in bombings at the age of 19 that claimed the lives of many. Afterwards, his life changed irrevocably. As a convicted murderer, he was sentenced to prison for 40 years in 1995. But then God started to change Stefaans systematically during a long and introspective journey in prison. He's now an activist for forgiveness and racial reconciliation and a servant at an organization called Live Love. He also works for a regional radio station and is a book reviewer and an author. Stefaans is happily married to Deirdre and they have a baby boy called David. Please welcome Stefaans Coetzee.
I was 5 years old when my mom gave me money to buy sweets. When I came back from the shop, my mom was gone. My mom never kissed me. My mom never hugged me. My mom never said tot ziens. As a young boy, you wonder what you have done wrong, that your own mom don't want you. Maybe you didn't eat your vegetables. Maybe you cry a lot at night. Maybe you were naughty. But you always look for a mistake at yourself. My father drank. In fact, my father was an alcoholic. And my best memory of my dad was when he comes back from work, he will make food. And after he starts making food, he will start drinking. And he will not stop until he's totally drunk. And while he was passed out on the bed, I will do cookies and I will cut it in his tattoos. The people decided that my father is not capable of looking after us, and I was sent to an orphanage. If you are in an orphanage, you wonder how bad must you be that your parents don't want you. How bad must you be if your father chooses alcohol above you, that your mom chooses a life without you. You learn to fight. You learn to fight for everything you want in life. In my second year in Standard 4, I started to beat black people on Fridays and Saturday nights. Later, that was not enough. I started to beat them on Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, later every day of the week. That was not enough. I was part of a group called the Israel Vision, and they believed that the white people are God's chosen race. And with that power, I had the ability to make a choice, and we killed people. I was part of a group that did bombings, and I was caught, sent to prison. I remember that when I was in prison, I saw myself as a Boer hero, because we always said they killed us and we killed them. Even back in the apartheid regime, when I was in school, we practiced what will happen if the ANC bombed the schools. Where must we go? I remember our schools were pop-ups with hand grenades and landmines so that we can identify a target if the ANC decided to bomb us. So for me, always, it was them and us. And while I was in prison, I was in 11 prisons in 4 years. On my prison ticket stand, troublemaker, because that was what I was. I caused a trouble. Since I saw myself as this hero figure, I was very arrogant because I'm better than them, and in fact, I'm part of God's chosen race. And I didn't want to do anything about Jesus. If you wanted to switch me, just mention the name Jesus. Then I was immediately angry. And in prison, it's compulsory to see a psychologist, and one day I was standing against a wall waiting for my turn, and an old lady came to me and she told me, Jesus loves you. And I told her, Tannie, I don't believe in that Christian stuff. And being in prison, my Afrikaans were fluently out of the Cape. And she said, Jesus still loved you. Months later, I had visits. She gave me a little Christian book, Our Daily Bread, and just to show my disgust in the Christian religion, I threw it in a dustbin, and I told her, Tannie, I don't do that Christian stuff. It don't work for me. And The guy, the way I'm standing now, actually like this on my left side was Eugene de Kock, and he always talked to me about forgiveness. And I never wanted to do anything about it. I was proud of what I have done. I was proud to be a Boere hero. And as the time possessed, I was reading a book. The book's name is The Fifth Mountain, and on page 218, I met Jesus Christ. 10 years in a sentence, already in 11 prisons causing trouble. I met Jesus in a single cell. And I remember the most important question I needed to ask myself that day: if I die today and I go to heaven, will there be a board, a sign that say whites only? If that sign is there, I didn't sin. I don't need to repent, and I don't need to be a Christian. But I know that the Bible teaches in Matthew 28, verse 19 and 20, go make disciples of all nations. And I told the prison that I'm going to change my life, and everyone laughed. I'm in 11 prisons. It's not working out. And I didn't have a Bible. So I went to Eugene and said, I must admit shamefully that I don't have a Bible. And he gave me a Bible, a blue Bible, and the logo of the Gideons was on top of it. And you know that the Bible starts in Matthew, the easy books, until you reach chapter 5. Because in Matthew 5, verse 23 and 24 states, I'm going to say this in Afrikaans. Yes, is where my boertjie is English stop. As jy jou offer na die altaar vat, en dit val jou by dat jou broer iets teen jou het, laat staan jou offer en gemaak vrede. A roughly translated, it means if you go out to pray and you are reminded that you have something, your brother has something against you, leave your offering and go make peace. And it's not quoted perfectly. And I decided to go back to say, I'm sorry. And I told the prison, I really just want to apologize for what I've done. The first person I met was Olga, 2007, and she told me, I'm not here to forgive you. And she did. And she went back, and everyone asked, how does he look? The older people will remember, if you were part of the AWB, you had a big stomach, brown uniform, big beard. And she said, no, I saw a young boy. And they asked, what did he say? She said, he hates us because we are black. And then they thought, you still forgave him. And they said, we really want to meet this guy. And the prison said, if you want to meet Stefaans Coetzee, you need to get to Pretoria. So the church collected money, and they called the train the peace train, and all my victims came up, and they forgave me. After that, I went to Cape Town. I had 6 more VODs. VOD stands for Victor Offender Dialogue. It's just discussions. The biggest group were 1,000 people. We have to remember that the bomb attack is a public deed. It's the people who died, the people who work in the shopping centers, the people who were on the way to the shopping centers, the people who just left, the nurses, the people in the hospital. And all of them forgave me except one person. I have a life sentence. A life sentence means that they can determine on what time I leave prison. 2 years after that, my name appeared on a parole board. Now my real name is Daniel. So everyone calls me Stefaans. They asked me, do you know Daniel Coetzee? I said, yes, it's me. They said, you appear on a parole board. And I said, no, it's a joke, because I'm a life offender. And when I went there, they told me the lady who said, I hate you, is attending your parole. And she asked the parole board to give me a second chance in life. And I have made a promise to God that with that second chance, I'm going to try to live so that we can see how much God loves us. Because I don't think we always understand. Each one of you sitting here, I don't know with what you are struggling. I don't know your medical conditions. I don't know if you have a child or a grandchild who are addicted to drugs. I don't know when is the last time you saw someone you love. I don't know if you were bullied at school. I don't know what happened to you. But one thing I do know, if God can give a second chance in life to a life offender, nothing you struggle with is more important. My cell if I have made this, I can paint my walls. And every morning I've held that cell grills, and I knew that one day I will be released. And the first day I left prison, I was actually 7 days in prison. I told them that I was not ready. You cannot tell a life offender, go home. Prison is my home. If you are so long in prison, there is no other life than prison. And when they said I cannot go, I asked them, if I walk, are you going to shoot me? They say no. Then I took out my shoes. And for the first time in 19 years, I walk on grass. For the first time in 19 years, I saw a flower. I picked the flower and I smelled it. For the first time in 19 years, I saw a tree, and with these hands, I touched it. And you will realize that I didn't mention any of the big things. Because while you're in prison, you learn that the most important things in life is the small stuff. I had the privilege to meet my mom. And I remember the first day I went in my mom's house, I have walked from room to room to see if there's anything to show the world that she had a son. There was nothing. I saw pictures of my sisters, and I have 3 beautiful sisters. I saw pictures of my sister's children, but nothing of me. It's almost if my mom have write me out of her memory. I have washed my mom's feet, and I forgave her. But still, my mom decided that she don't want a boy. And it's good. My door will always be open. I'm very blessed that with these hands that have built the bomb, every night I can sleep and I can pick up my own baby. I can change his diaper. I can bath him. In fact, my wife didn't do breastfeeding because then she have an advance I don't have. At night, I'm the one who want to do the night patrol. I am very blessed that in Klerksdorp, I have 74 vegetable tunnels that we feed in a community, because I believe that forgiveness is a word. I'm very blessed that God have gave us monies. We have built a classroom, we have built a dam, and we have put it in JoJo tanks for people who didn't have water. I'm blessed to work at a Christian radio station where I can be part of the change of people's life. And everything that I've mentioned after prison, I mentioned for one reason only. Sometimes when you give a Bible, you are not sure what you are doing. I think very few of you are lucky to see the change that you make. I can promise you, without that Bible, I would not have found the way. Without that Bible, I still would have killed people. Without that Bible, I would not have stand here today. What very few people know, I told Gideon, every time I visit a town and I sleep at a place, I look for a Gideon Bible and I take a photo of it. Because the Gideon Bible was the first Bible I read when I met Jesus. Thank you so much for what you have done. May God bless every one of you in health, financial, love, but above all, may He bless your soul so much if you enter a room that the people can feel the presence of Jesus. Thank you.